says that those lights will come down precipitously over the next year or so. And so I talked to the state about approving the loan for $83,923.93. No problem. They have to prepare new documents for us because of the reduced amount. The bill, we've received our first bill for a full month with the light changeover, and the savings are going to cover the debt service and then some.
Oh, good.
And we'll pay it off in about 3 years.
Wow. When you talked about downtown light fixtures, that's the ones at Great River Road.
Yeah, the decorative fixtures. The light they had that we could afford was that really bright blue light that they tried down there by the gauge, and everybody said, yeah, no, we're not going to do that. We've tried a couple of other bulbs, and we have one out there now that's a softer yellow light. It's a little bit brighter than the lights we're using now, but not significantly, but it's in the same kind of range of light. It's just expensive. And so we decided to just hold off on that. And if we choose to do it, the Department of Energy is ready to assist us with the second phase if we want to go forward.
What kind of percentage are you talking about for savings?
We're saving $33,000 a month. As a percentage, that's a third. I mean, $33,000 a year.
Right.
$3,000 a month. It's about a third of, I think, of our normal bill.
That's good.
How many of the fixtures are downtown?
Who made them?
How many is there?
90.
90 of them. Wooden pole.
Right.
Figure pole, whatever.
Is that right, Dave? About 90?
I think there's a little over 100.
Okay, 100.
I don't know exact, but I think there's over 100.
90 is the difference. Well, okay. You're aware, some of you are aware, because you came to the second meeting, that we had 2 meetings with the Corps of Engineers on reviewing their draft report. They're working on that. We've been providing additional information. The comment period is through December 16th for that report. So if you want to go look at it, it's 78 pages long. A lot of it is tables and charts and maps, so it doesn't have 78 pages of narrative. But I would encourage you to go look at it. I found some errors, but they were errors because of how long it's taken. They were reporting on data that was 10 years old now. And so we've encouraged them to update that data rather than just putting it out, since it was collected in more than 10 years, 1987, I guess. And so they're doing that, and a lot of it related to Mississippi Lime, and so they're working with the environmental officer at Mississippi Lime to make sure they get the proper data. And Sandra and Carla are now engaging them in discussing the recreational aspect of the program to make sure that what they propose is consistent with kind of the vision that's forming for how to use the levee grounds for recreational and wildlife habitat and restoration purposes. So that coordination is taking place, and they'll probably come down with the crew to have a meeting and to talk about those things. And at our last meeting, Alderman Rosica mentioned the large vehicle parking issue. I collected some samples and talked to him on whether any of those samples addressed his concern, and put together an ordinance that addresses the problems that he's been seeing. That ordinance is in your packet. We don't have to vote on it tonight. I mean, if you want, we can just it's a discussion item. Under any cases, if you choose to vote on it, it'll be a first reading, and we'll have the next 2-week period to discuss any changes. When we get to the ordinance, there's already a proposed change that I'll make you aware of. parish is concerned about the exposure of that glass front on the daycare center at the DeBerg Center. So they approached us about coming up with a plan for putting up bollards that will keep people from running into the building. And as the owner of a building that somebody ran into once that's that close to the street, it can happen. Take my word for it. The former owner, I've sold the buildings. But, and so they're talking about in-the-ground concrete bollards, but they're going to cover them with a decorative cover and cap so it matches the fence around the desert. So we ran that by the Heritage Commission at the last meeting, and everybody they weren't approving it, but everybody seemed to be on board with it. So the parish is going to proceed with their contractor to come up with a proposal and get approval for that. The Jokers finished the paving of the parking area up at Market and the highway. Didn't get the curbing done, and of course now it's getting cold, so you can't put asphalt down, so that may have to wait until warmer weather before they can get back and put in the curbing and make the repair at the intersection of 10th Street and Market, where you got this kind of drop off if you're turning onto 10th off of Market going east. And finally, they have completed the planting of the trees for the wildlife restoration area. 1,500 trees got planted. They planted them. It's pretty impressive when you go down there because they got all of them staked, and you look out and it's holy cow, that's a lot of trees. They're about 20 feet apart. They didn't put them in a pattern that was approved, so the contractor has to come back and kind of move them because Fish and Wildlife didn't want them in a straight line and grid. They wanted to go, and they didn't do it that way. So Fish and Wildlife is making the contractor do it the right way.
When they put concrete down?
As a whole, it's a mixture of trees, and it's not all one kind. Yeah.
Who was the contractor?
I don't know. We didn't hire them. It's federal government hired them.
How large are the trees?
They vary in size. Some are, depending on the species, I guess, but some of them are, they're 2 or 3 feet high, and some of them are 5 feet high.
Oh, wow.
And even we haven't had much rain. The soil conditions are moist down there as they were doing it, so we don't think we have a problem with a proper moisture for the trees to grow. Maybe too much moisture, but we'll find that out. Any questions? Yes, sir.
10th Street, Market Street intersection, what is their intentions to?
Well, I'm going to ask Alderman Jokers to talk about that because he met with him.
Look at it, yeah, and it's just going to make it a gradual slope to.
Like how gradual? Because when you come out of there with a flatbed truck,
You bottom out probably.
had a couple questions, especially with a dump bed. I mean, it pops
Yeah.
big time. and
No,
stuff,
it's supposed to go down off
Yeah.
10th Street a ways, the way Dan and I discussed it, so.
But they'll come in and add asphalt and feather it out as they go
Right.
down 10th Street.
Well, he said it's gonna be about 5 inches or more thick right there by the wall. So, yeah, it should be adequate.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Eric, you're up first.
Good evening. Good evening. Excellent. Really quickly, I wanted to thank Alderman Stupi for the donation that he helped organize for the Reading Express. It was as a result of our Cops That Cook pancake breakfast thing, so I will forward that to the Reading Express. I appreciate it. The report's pretty brief, I think. I do have my 2 new hires with me today that I'd like to introduce really well. New hire and one rehire. We have former Sergeant Pollock, Ryan Pollock, is back as a police officer. We're super happy to have him back. As you guys probably remember, he was ill for a while and he's recovered and is back to work. So, secondly, we have Mike Sansasi. Just hired him from the Sheriff's Department. He lives in town. Both officers live in town. So if you guys have any questions, they'd be happy to answer them, I'm sure. They like public speaking. Come on up.
Welcome back and welcome to board.
So again, they both live in town, which is a huge plus, and I think they're gonna work out nicely. So you guys have any questions for them?
Well, we know Ryan's experience and background, but we don't know Mike, so you want to talk a little bit about your experience in law enforcement?
Well, I graduated the academy in December of 2015. I worked at the jail for a year, and I'm learning as I go.
Want some road experience, and we had the position to facilitate that, so I think you'll be fine.
Welcome aboard.
Thanks.
Good to have you both.
You guys can sit down. Like I said, I don't think there's any real pressing issues on the report. As you can see, our building is underway. I appreciate all of Dave's help and his guys' help for the building there, and hopefully we'll have it under roof quickly, so
So it's just putting the cars out of the weather, basically.
yes, eventually we would like to but wrap the rest of it, have fully enclosed, and then some facilities to actually work on some cars and have electricity.
Are we not going to close that? It's just...
We're gonna have one enclosed bay now where the golf cart will stay, and then the others will be just like a pole barn, carport type situation, and then we're gonna make application with, assuming the board is comfortable with it, make application for the Community Development Foundation to finish wrapping the rest of it, and
You're gonna do that in this go-round?
theoretically,
Well, you need to...
I should have asked for that on my agenda.
Well, you know, it doesn't, somebody could just make a motion.
Okay.
Do you know how much?
I don't have any idea. Less than $10,000.
Can you bring that back at the next meeting?
There's not another meeting in December.
They're supposed to.
Unless they
Oh, is
cancel the 22nd, it's up to them.
Oh, okay. Yes, I will.
Okay.
Well, that's up to you.
Yeah, I think we're going to discuss tonight whether you want to have one on the 22nd or not.
I'll be in the Bahamas.
I'll be in Michigan.
There you go.
Well, I'm not going to Michigan. I might vote for the Bahamas.
Come on, especially with me.
Do you want to just make a motion to that he could apply for the grant?
Up to $10,000.
Yes. Let's, second.
You made the motion?
Yeah.
Up to two, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There we go.
Thank you.
Then you got something.
Relatively. Thank you very much. Like I said, I'll-
What's the deadline to get that submitted?
the 30th, 31st.
Anything else for Eric? Kenny? Thank you, Eric.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Kenny, what are you doing here?
I actually had an evening I could make it. And good evening, everybody, too. You should have my report in front of you. A couple things that I would like to bring to your attention. Number one, we did get the SCBA's in now, and we're starting to train on them this month. Within a couple months, I hope to have them on the truck and being used every day. Being the fact that's a piece of safety equipment, I want to make sure the guys are comfortable and feel good about before I put them in service.
Yes.
Okay. That's the federal grant that we went with the county, and the SCBA's are the air packs we wear on our backs.
Self-contained breathing apparatus.
Yeah, breathing air.
know what that acronym was.
Yeah, SCBA stands for self-contained breathing apparatus.
All right.
We got the air packs in, we're starting to train on those now. The second part of the program, they've got the bids back now, and they're trying to work all the details on the second half of the purchase, which is the air compressors and fill stations and everything to go with it. We hope to have that within the next month or so in service and operational too. So we should be able to get that in operation about the same time that the SCBA's go on the trucks and get operational.
That was good.
And the other thing I'd like to bring to your attention is, yesterday I also put on 2 new guys, and that now brings us to a full staff, which is the first time in years that I can remember that we've had a full staff of volunteer firefighters.
Great.
We're going to continue to accept applications. Being volunteer, we do have turnover over there, so we're always accepting applications, always willing to take them. But for the time being, we do have a full staff for the first time in years.
That's great.
Outstanding.
What kind of training do you guys need?
The training that they're going to need, we're going to put them through the firefighter 1 and 2 as time permits. One of our police officers joined about 4 months ago, so we'll have 3 or 4 of them to send through the firefighter 1 and 2 like we did the last time. We'll have to evaluate whether or not I can have it here or it's cheaper to send them someplace at the time. Within the first year, we try to have them in a class or at least signed up for a class to start. We are fortunate with a couple of them that we recently signed up. One of them is a transfer from Ozora, so he comes in with experience, and we also have a transfer from Perryville that moved into town, and he comes with 7 years of experience too. So we've got 2 new guys and 2 guys that have some experience.
Good. Eric, since you're here and the chief is here, this question was raised today. I think I'd like to take this opportunity to ask you. We have a couple of streets that are circles, like St. Jude Drive, and when a 911 call comes in and it says respond to the call at St. Jude Drive, is there ever any problem knowing whether you go left or right, and do you know the address is sufficient that the drivers know kind of where to go?
For the fire department standpoint, most of the guys are from around town and they're pretty much familiar with it. It would be nice if there would be a better definition from our standpoint, but we know the basic numbers go from this to this on each different sections.
If we renamed them St. Jude North, St. Jude South, St. Jude, East and West, would that help?
It may help slightly, but we're not having any problems right now. To be honest, I think the biggest problems that we're having with that is the ambulance district, because they hire a lot of people from outside the community that aren't as familiar with it as the local guys that we have on volunteer.
Same with Lynn, Lynn.
Yeah, Lynn Drive's another one.
The other issue that we have is people will call in and say, well, they're at the intersection of Scott and Lynn. Well, there's 2 intersections of Scott and Lynn.
Yeah.
So, and same with St. Jude. So, I mean, again, it's a 30-second delay to get from one end to the other, so it's not significant enough that I think it needs to be addressed.
Okay, well, addressing it would be complicated, and it would take a long time for everybody's system to catch up. But it's easy to change the name, but it's hard to get it in all of the mapping systems and GPSs and GIS systems and all. It just
There again, I think they're close enough proximity that it's not going to.
Okay. Thanks.
Considerable deal.
I concur. Same opinion.
Okay.
Any questions?
On the ambulance thing, I've experienced that personally. They struggle.
Yeah, they have a fairly high turnover over there, and
like you said, they're not familiar with the area.
the benefit there is we have started in the last few years assisting them with some of the EMS calls on the fire, and police is usually responding to them calls when they're available, so that if nothing else, they can kind of key on the fire personnel or the ambulance personnel to help find a location too.
Now, Kenny, I see we got 3 certified instructors now. Are these folks capable of doing a firefighter 1 and 2 or not?
We could, but what we find is a lot of times we have more of a, I wouldn't say knowledge base, but more experience coming from other counties where they're a little bit busier. The instructor we had that came in last year came from Herculaneum, and we run 173 calls a year, maybe 3 or 4 house fires, and because they're in Jefferson County, they have a tendency to run more calls, so they have more experience and they can relate more real-life experiences than what we can here. I have in the past, as one of the certified instructors, hosted a class and taught it, and I've got a pretty good background, but it tends to get a little more credibility to it when you have somebody that runs more calls than what we do. So I would still consider trying to get an outside instructor to do it.
Good to have our 3 certified people.
Actually, we got 2.5 right now. He's taking his test. He's waiting for the results. But, yeah, that's 3 state level certified instructors on our department. Nobody else in the county has any that are certified, so that's a feather in our cap to start with.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Anything else?
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks, Kenny.
Thank you.
Pink.
Good evening. How's everybody doing? Doing Hey, see, well, one thing about it, we're not mowing anymore, so.
So you had written in your report, which I prepared yesterday, the day before, I guess day before,
Yeah.
that the plow should be installed this week. Has anything happened in the last 2 days?
No, I don't think I said they're gonna be installed this week. They're in.
Well,
So
well.
one of them's being installed, should be installed today.
The new plows we put on this week, which road?
Did I say we put on? Maybe I need spell check. No, we did put our other plows on the trucks that we have that are available, so, yeah. And we're not out of vehicles. We do have snow equipment, so we've got 3 plows and 2 spreaders, so. But we're just, with the new, I mean, if we got a foot of snow, yeah, we need the big trucks, but I don't want it to.
I'm catching up, Dave, the 2 trucks we just bought.
No, they're not complete yet.
It's December.
I know that.
And I know that the holdup wasn't us.
No, it was
getting to it.
Yeah, well, you figured you voted on it in October, and then by the time the guy ordered, he wasn't gonna order it and have it in stock. You know, I don't know why, because he pretty well knew he was gonna get it, but anyway, he won't even call me anymore, he just texts me.
So do you need to source the same thing from a different vendor?
Uh-huh.
That might have it sitting around?
Well,
I mean, somewhere in the country,
it just came in today, so.
Okay.
So, but we took a truck out there this morning, and with any luck, they gotta do some welding stuff, change the brackets. I'm hoping they can get one a day, so, but they didn't know for sure.
I thought they came with the same stuff that we had, so it just was gonna be a quick thing.
No, see, all trucks are different, you know, when you buy.
I get that, but I mean, my memory was that the reason we were going after these trucks.
No, all the hydraulics were there. All the hydraulics hookups and everything are there for spreaders and snowplow. But the company we bought it from, they kept their snowplows, so. Yeah, we got everything hooked up. Now, if we'd have bought a regular truck, then we'd have to put all the hydraulics on, you know, it'd be pretty high cost.
So Dave, within the next couple days, you'll have.
Oh, should, yeah. By next week, we should have all 3 of them, you know, hooked up, ready to go. But like I say, if we do get a snow, we're ready to go. You know, we got plenty of salt, so.
How many, I didn't realize, I guess, the lights in the park, how many lights are still the old ones in the park? Aren't they on the same, we don't pay for them the same way?
No, they're not the street safety lights. We pay for them the same. They weren't part of our changeover.
Well, I'd be guessing if
So these are the ones by all the little pavilions?
well, yeah, then all the way through the road, you know, on both sides of the roads and down. So.
They changed all the normal lights on the street in the park. Didn't they? I'm sure they, yeah.
I was told they didn't, that's why we kept the bulbs.
I think what they didn't change are the non-street lights. It's the ones that are right by the restroom. And the others have changed.
Dawn lights?
Well, then, that won't work out then, because them bulbs are different, because them are like regular dusted dawn lights. The ones that used to be out here.
We can't use them, we can't use them. I wasn't gonna let them trash them. We already paid for them.
But how do we pay on the electricity for them? Wouldn't it make sense to switch those over too?
Yeah.
Are they treated, when we pay for them, are they treated as a street light? Or are they metered differently? Do you recall? I don't know, okay.
I know you're
Let's check
saving
it out.
money on them lights, but if you notice, they shine down.
Yeah, you don't
They really go out very far.
That's right.
I really think in the park, you need something that'll,
Let's look,
We need to save that money.
let's check it out.
Well, it's a
See
big
what we're
difference.
so you
talking
save enough, you can add more lights to the park then.
There you go.
about. Yeah, that's right. Let's see how many there, see what we're talking about. Well, I thought for sure they changed the street lights, but I take it that these were the ones by the pavilions and the restroom and a couple there we got by the trail and stuff. Maybe that's these.
That was my understanding.
Okay.
And we're done with the graveyard for a while, so I pretty well told people if they wanted to put Christmas, you know, decorations on the graves, they could, because, you know, they're not gonna be in our way, you know, so, I mean, we're down out there for a while, so.
You guys have done a great job.
Thank you.
We've been getting a lot of compliments.
Good.
That one lady in particular that was upset with it came to me and said thank you, and to tell you thank you for straightening it up. So,
Well, we try.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pile on the compliments and thank you for the Christmas lights and the banners and all that holiday spirit. It looks great.
seriously.
Yeah, well, you can thank Dirt Effect Committee for that.
Well, thanks for putting it up for us.
Yeah, they bought them and 47 new banners, and it really didn't, it took us 3 days instead of a half a day, but we had to switch everything out, so, and they're talking about maybe buying some more.
We've also bought some seasonal banners that they're gonna wanna put up in kind of as we change seasons. So we agreed to, if they bought them, we would put them up when the time came.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I think town looks, yeah, we have more Zuko. Pam, remember, he charges it for labor but donates the truck. Right.
Yeah, it's $40-something an hour.
Yeah, so.
David, you're pretty agile yet. Is there any possibility you can just shimmy up those poles and do it yourself without getting that?
No, there's no possibility there. No, I'm scared of heights.
All right, anything else for Dave?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Any public comments, anybody? Any reports from the board? Okay.
On the agenda, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, minutes from November the 10th, the regular meeting.
Move to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And minutes from the closed session, here they come.
Here. Pass, take one of those.
I would like to, and I like all the rest of them. Hold them hostage.
Do you want to see him?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you. Send them back if you would.
That's right. I just thought, hold on.
I have to get some water.
And the minutes from the special meeting November 22nd.
Thank you.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Treasurer's report for October. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. And no old business, new business, bill number 4135, first reading.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement between the City of St. Genevieve and the St. Genevieve Community Access Television Board, Channel 990 and 991.
I move to approve.
Second.
All in favor of first reading?
Aye.
Opposed?
There are no changes to this. It's the same agreement we had last year.
Thank you. Bill number 4136, first reading.
An ordinance amending the City of St. Genevieve Code of Ordinances, Chapter 360, stopping for loading or unloading only, Section 365.080, parking by heavy equipments or heavy vehicles on city streets regulated as set forth below.
If I may, can we talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, usually there's a motion and a second, then discussion.
Okay.
Make a motion.
Second.
No.
Now you ask for discussion.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. As Martin told you earlier, this is something that I brought up, and it's the result of numerous concerns of citizens in where I live and also in other wards. We've had a lot of incidents lately of people who will bring tractor trailers home from work and park them on the city street. Not only does it not look good, but those vehicles are huge, you can't see past them. We had one guy in particular, brought one for a long time. They leak like sieves, they tear the street up. It's just, and these individuals know the law well enough to know how they can circumvent it. So they're hip to what the ordinance was. And it seems like the one guy, he said, well, fine, I'll just bring the tractor home because that's under the weight limit and blah, 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 blah. Well, I don't think that's correct. So Martin has put some language in here taken, as you said, from some other municipalities that I think will address the issue, and we don't want to prevent anybody from driving their pickup truck home or anything like that, and obviously we don't want to prevent anybody from receiving a delivery or whatever, but I just think it's a good idea that those type of vehicles are not parked in a residential district. That's the gist of this.
Well, add to that, I like this. I like where it's going. We had issues and concerns in Ward 1 in addition. We had RVs parked out there for weeks and months and even plugged into buildings across our city sidewalks.
Yeah.
And we also have trailers that are not attached to vehicles. Now, not 18-wheeler trailers. Now, I know.
This doesn't.
All right, I know, but that's why I'm saying maybe we can address this with this. Maybe we can add it to this. We have trailers that are not that weight or specifications that have couches on them and old furniture that sit out in the middle of our streets.
I know.
Yeah, but I think that's addressed right here.
Well, I thought it was as well, but is it 18,000 pounds? And that was my question.
No, I think
This is
these,
just a little like,
no, I think these is a completely different thing.
I agree.
Yeah.
So you feel it does cover that?
no unattached,
No
boat,
unattached.
trailer, or recreational
Right.
vehicle.
Okay, because this solves it's your
Right,
concerns,
and-
this caused
and what
my
you're talking
concerns.
about.
I think we're covered in a beat on that.
Yeah.
I do too. I forgot.
And I was concerned with the weight, so the second does cover us then. But the, of course, wonderful. Okay.
The Alderman,
Excuse me, recreational vehicles. How are we going to define recreational vehicles? Just as RVs or motorhomes? And I'm telling you, at the same place we got a trailer issue, we got a sand rail that sits there.
what?
A sand rail, a dune buggy.
Oh, on a trailer.
No.
That's a licensed vehicle.
Is it a licensed vehicle?
Well, the trailer's not licensed.
Correct.
Well, trailers licensed or not, you're just not, I think we've eliminated the parking of trailers on the street.
Okay, thank you.
A licensed vehicle, even though it may be unsightly and not kind of what you'd like to see, is a licensed vehicle.
Well, we'd just like to ask the Chief Bennett to kind of tell his guys, men and women, to kind of keep an eye on that. If they see it sitting there, make sure it's got the plates.
According to this, the way this is written, Tom, on B, that no unattached boat, which I would think go for an unattached trailer or unattached recreational vehicle. I think it's all the same. Yeah, right?
I'm not sure I understand your point.
Okay, I'm saying that the recreational vehicle, you could have a camper somewhere. It's different between having a motorhome out there, you know, on the street, than having a camper there that's not attached to anything. Correct? Or am I missing something?
You're saying the camper may not be, somebody might argue that it's not included in this language? Is
No,
that-
I think it's included.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think it's open enough, for, in the RVs, us to enforce however we want to do it.
The Alderman Prince,
But that's an RV or a motorhome.
Excuse us.
Go ahead, sorry. Go ahead.
no, whatever.
Joe, tell what you said.
Well, no, I mean, I guess I read it a couple different ways, but
Well, if it's ambiguous, we need to talk about it now.
Yeah.
well, first it says no unattached boat, trailer, or recreational vehicle shall be parked on the street. However, this prohibition shall not apply to those vehicles commonly known as recreational vehicles.
And then it says 72 consecutive hours. Only for 72 consecutive hours.
But they're also saying RVs or motorhomes, which is,
You know, read the rest of it.
Which are in use by someone other than the owner.
So an RV can't be stored on a
So-
street, but if
Right,
it's there...
if your aunt comes to visit you in her RV.
For 72
For
hours.
72 hours, she can stay in her motorhome parked on the street.
But they can't drape an electric cord and go across our streets and plug it for 3 months.
Right.
Cousin Eddie can't do it.
So
Cousin Eddie can't do it.
the issue that Joe brought up earlier was that in the prior preceding paragraph, we say that you can't have these vehicles, buses, except when they're loading or unloading, and he said we have people who come by bus tour, and the bus drops the people off for the day, and then, is waiting somewhere, and he was concerned that that would trigger an enforcement, and while we're unlikely to write a ticket for that.
I don't see that in here at all.
It didn't.
Okay.
It says,
Says they have to be loading or unloading.
I've never really seen a tourist bus sitting on a city street.
No.
I've never seen.
well, it's easy, if I add after the first sentence where we say, in the fifth line, loading or unloading of such trailers or buses in the act of loading or unloading passengers or in on-duty status, whatever ambiguity there is, we clear it up. So I'm recommending that we add that language just so nobody misinterprets it.
If you're going to add that language, you add the designated parking that we have by the interpret center as well, because we actually have a bus parking area that should be used.
Well, they could park there regardless.
And that could be, well, that takes them off the street, because sometimes they park side by side, and it's hard to get even my little car down there. So if you add your verbiage, which would be great, and then add designated bus parking, because that's where we should have them, that's why we have that location, that would be tickety-boo.
Okay, whatever that means.
Yeah, but school buses aren't going to go down there. They can park at the schools.
The schools are fine.
That's fine.
And we want as many tourists as possible. I just want to make sure they're in the right place.
All right.
This is great. So
We'll make those changes for the second reading.
Okay.
Great.
So do we need a motion now?
Well, you have a motion you can vote on.
Wait,
Yeah, but we don't accept
one
this
more
the way
comment.
it is.
You got one more question?
Yeah, one more question, this 18,000 pound figure, I drive a 1-ton cab and chassis that's licensed to 24,000 pounds.
Okay.
It's a single cab, 9-foot bed,
Where do you park it?
everywhere. And a lot of the farmers' trucks where they pull gooseneck trailers,
Because 20,000 pound was the limit we had in the current ordinance.
Right.
there is no license at 20. It's-
No, it didn't say licensed, it just,
That's when our ordinance was at 20.
Right.
Yeah. Well, the reason we,
You won't be breaking the law any worse than you already are.
right,
But the problem is most of these farmers' vehicles, you have to license your truck for the total capacity,
right.
what you're pulling and everything, trailer weight.
But how many farmers are parking in front of somebody's house
Yeah.
on the street in town? Farmers live.
Some.
I don't think,
Yeah, I don't have to.
Well, I mean, I you know,
I don't think we're there to penalize that.
no, we're not. You know, with most legislation, it's because people have abused it.
Right.
People parking tractor trailers on city streets. So,
I love them farmers.
okay.
All right, any more? Done discussing? Okay, all in favor with the noted changes?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Bill number 4137, first reading.
An ordinance of the City of St. Genevieve authorizing the mayor to enter into a proposal with Dutch Enterprises of Jackson, Missouri for an emergency repair of the sewer line on Riverview Drive in an amount not to exceed $10,861.
Steve, are you here? Come up here, please. How come we can't do this?
It's an internal lining of the pipe, with pressure machine, we don't have the equipment.
well, we could dig it up the line, but it would disturb people's backyards and improvements, and it would cost more than
So you're
this.
just going through and lining this pipe?
Yeah, we're gonna repair the line from the inside. We're gonna go in one manhole and pull a repair patch up the inside of the pipe,
All right.
What's the diameter on it?
8-inch.
What's that gonna do? What kind of thickness is the line?
It's about a 1/4-inch liner. It'll be tapered off on the ends. Each patch will be 8 foot long. There's 4 joints in that section of pipe that need repaired. Each patch will cover two with one repair kit.
What's the life of those patches?
Forever, longer than the pipe that's in the ground.
Is this back in the yards off of?
Yeah, it's in the easement behind Riverview Drive.
Down in the,
So Steve, you went out for multiple bids, and this is the only one you guys are?
That is the only company that I can find that'll do an internal patch. Everybody now is moving to the internal pipe lining. They want to replace it from manhole to manhole.
Right.
At a price of about $75 a foot.
So
which would make the cost about $18,000 to $19,000.
Do you feel this is an effective way to deal with this?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Randy?
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I imagine we could do a second reading.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor of second reading of 4137?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, second reading, bill number 4137.
An ordinance of the City of St. Genevieve authorizing the mayor to enter into a proposal with Dutch Enterprises of Jackson, Missouri for an emergency repair of the sewer line on Riverview Drive in an amount not to exceed $10,861.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call.
Alderman Smith?
Aye.
Alderman Couch?
Yes.
Alderman Donovan?
Yes.
Alderman Jokers?
Yes.
Alderman Stupi?
Yes.
Alderman Hook?
Yes.
Alderman Prince? Alderman Rozika?
Yes.
8 yes, 0 no's. Bill number 4137 now becomes ordinance 4072.
When are they gonna mobilize and do this, since they got the approval?
I'll know a date whenever I give them the approval. I talked to them earlier this week, they're like they're ready to do it.
Is it,
It's not weather sensitive.
how did you know that you had a problem? But never mind. It's, we're not causing anybody any big problems though, right? Just right now?
No,
Okay.
we found it with a video inspection of the sewer line.
Okay. Okay, other business. Tom and Sue Steiger are appealing the decision of the St. Genevieve Heritage Commission to replace the existing 6 windows with 1/1 vinyl double-hung windows on the alley side of the building at 272 Merchant Street. Carla, we'll hear from you first, please.
Hello. Okay, so initially, when the application came in, it was to replace 9 of the windows. 3 on the front of the building, all of the windows are on the second story, and 6 in the alley. And speaking with Sue Steiger prior to the meeting, she had instructed me, or asked me, that if the commission wouldn't approve all 9 to be replaced, then they would be willing to do the front 3 in a wood replacement, and then the 6 in the alley, if they would approve the vinyl. So during the meeting, there was a motion to approve all windows to be replaced. It died for lack of a second. Then another motion followed, and it was a motion to deny the request. And that motion passed with a 3-0 and a 2 against it vote. Yes.
I just want to, we can do this a real long way or just a real short way. Why didn't the Heritage Commission want to approve the windows in the alley, since the building across the alley has pretty much the exact same windows? They just,
The statement that I've been told in the past is, if a decision was made incorrectly at one time or another by another board or by another commission, doesn't mean that a decision needs to be made.
Correct decision. I'm just saying that it just seems to me that this is silly.
It would appear
It's an alley.
that the guidelines weren't followed to begin with, and that it was authorized or overruled to allow plastic double-hung windows when in essence they're supposed to be replaced in kind, which is wood. So if it was overthrown in the past, that was an error on the part of the city, or the Aldermen, I feel, because the whole reason that we have these guidelines is to protect the historic preservation of our city. And as a person who lives in Ward 1 and has a business in Ward 1, I appreciate having that levy. And I don't think we would have gotten that levy if we weren't a historic town. Would you agree? Mm-hmm. And I certainly don't think that we'd be considered for national park recognition if we weren't a historic town and had that levy.
So, but how are the windows in the alley?
Very important. If you have a home or a business in Ward 1, when you purchase it, the real estate agents let you know that you have to abide by the guidelines. Yes? Those who had these homes for a long time also know they must abide by the guidelines. And that's what drives to another point. It's not even a primary residence. It is a money-making opportunity that they should have put into their budget or their business plan to replace, when appropriate, in kind, which means wood. So, I support the fact that you recommended that they replace in kind. I also support the decision of the commission, and I feel that this was the right ruling for Ward 1 Historic District, and that those windows that were replaced, plastic or vinyl, were done in error.
I'd like to follow up my colleague, because I disagree completely on this particular 9 windows in the alley. This is the business district of Ward 1.
In which I live.
And I live in Ward 1, Gary, that's why I'm
the business district, when you specify business district. You did specify, didn't you?
This is where this building is. It's in a kind of business district. And I think listen, I want to protect our heritage, or something like that. It's very important. But I think we also have to have a little bit of common sense that I don't have a problem with alley windows at all.
But it starts with alley windows.
No, you can't say
and then it creeps to other things.
You can't do that. You don't know what leads
If you have an ordinance and a law and a guideline, it's like saying to the chief of police, I'm not going to follow this law or this ordinance or this guideline because I don't think I have to, or it's in the alleyway.
Well, let me tell you.
So I understand what you're saying.
I'll wait till you.
I violently disagree with you.
Well, that's fine. The thing about writing an ordinance, any ordinance, any policy, any procedure, and I know you know this in your professional career, you can never cover every potentiality, right? So everything has to be looked at within the job of the Heritage Commission is to see if it fits within the ordinances on hand. And if it doesn't, they shouldn't approve it, right? If it doesn't fit in the ordinance on hand, they would deny it. But the Heritage Commission has in the past.
So you're referencing the design guidelines for the St. Genevieve National Historic District?
No, I'm telling you that the windows, how high up off the alley are they, Tom?
Over 12 feet?
Yeah, not a problem.
Well, I appreciate you not having a problem with it. I do have a problem with it, and you will just have to agree to disagree.
Well, it's okay, we're going to vote on it, right?
So,
I mean, it comes down to our previous understanding of this too. They're not changing the structure. By replacing the windows, they're actually preserving the building, whether they're replaced with vinyl or wood or whatever. They're making an effort to preserve the building by putting non-leaking windows in. If somebody wants to come back and put the original style windows in and wants to dole out that kind of money, I don't have a problem with them doing that at that time. As far as only replacing some of them, I'm more, if we're going to replace them all with the same thing so that they all look, they conform, they're in conformity. I'm not going to, I don't want to specify the front ones have to be wood or these have to be, if you're going to replace them all with the same, whether it be wood, vinyl, aluminum, whatever. Sitting down.
I just don't think that we should tell somebody.
Right, no, I'm just saying, like this downtown St. Charles, beautiful historic district, just like ours. A lot of those buildings have the aluminum clad windows that are updated. Our DeBerg building down here looks beautiful.
Hey, Tom, are there storm windows over these windows?
Wait a minute, Rick, wait a
We're
minute.
having a discussion.
Hang on a minute, hang on a minute.
I mean, I don't see a problem with this.
I would just like to add this to it. I was at this meeting when all of this discussion took place, and Frank Myers and myself had a discussion, and of course Frank feels exactly as you do. I take a little different stance, but Frank and I brought up a point. I said, okay, that building was built, right now it's got aluminum storm windows. In 1930, there was no such thing as an aluminum storm window. So, and Frank's a proponent of the wood windows, but in order to get the R value and everything with the wood window, you have to run an aluminum storm window. Whereas, an efficient, if it's a quality vinyl window, You don't have to run a storm window, which actually looks more like 1930 than that. So we gotta go over some of this stuff, and we've talked about that. We need to.
I think the Heritage Commission did their job.
Right.
Right, and they did it well.
Absolutely.
And they did it well.
They did their
So
job.
that's when it comes to us, and we have the ability to look for leeway and the value and other things.
Yeah, in our past conversations about this, Tom has made that point and everyone's kind of agreed. The system works because the Heritage Commission limits their consideration to a technical interpretation of the language of the design guidelines and the ordinance. And we have an appeal process so that the Board of Aldermen can expand the debate if they choose to. And so we say, we'll leave it the way it is because it's appropriate for the Heritage Commission to do what they did.
Right.
It's appropriate for the Board of Aldermen to have this discussion and vote.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's good that we have disagreements, because that's how we move forward, right? That's how we find compromises. And arguments and disagreements aren't personal at this table. You know, it's professional and it's healthy.
Okay, then why don't we then, since they were denied when they originally requested the 9 windows, and since they modified their request, why don't they go back to the commission and get their approval? Because they modified the request, shouldn't they take this back to the commission?
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Wait a minute. What, can we not take this back to them?
Well, yeah, I guess one of the questions was...
If everybody wants to, we could.
Was the original request included all 9? There wasn't, the 6 wasn't separated from...
The original request was 9 windows, and then at the meeting, Tom and Sue weren't able to come to the meeting.
Okay.
And so I had instructed the commission that I had spoken with Sue, and she had stated that if the board would not approve all 9 windows to be replaced, then if they could approve the 6 in the alley instead of all 9. So at that point, the discussion was, if they're willing to, replace the 3 in the front with wood, then why wouldn't they replace all 9? And then there was discussion about the guidelines and,
It's not, so what is your opinion then, as our employee that deals with this? Would you go back to the commission and approve 3 wood and 6 vinyl?
Well, they could absolutely do that.
Now, or are you not ready for me yet?
Okay, stand by. What was your answer, Carl?
They could absolutely go back to the commission and request that 3 windows up front be replaced with wood and the 6 windows in the alley be replaced with vinyl. That absolutely could be done. Or they have the option to appeal to the Board of Aldermen.
Has anybody put any value on their time to keep going back and changing?
Can I just say this?
Tom, you need to go to the microphone. Identify yourself.
This front 3 windows. It was never asked for by me or Sue. Okay, it's just so you gentlemen know, Susan or I never asked for the front windows to be done because we knew it was going to be a lot easier to get them done in the alley because it was just done a couple years ago. So we said no. And then we said, everybody knows how much effort I have put in my business. I have worked 40-something years. You know nothing about a business. I'm telling you, mister, I have worked my ass off to make that interior parking lot what it is today. It holds 30-something cars. I tore down 2 buildings, tore down 2 trees to make that what it was. I work on all the alleys for all the neighbors. When I stand on my property and look at all the windows that are identical to what I will be putting in, and mine will match what's up there now, I'll eliminate storm windows so you'll actually get it to look like something that's from the older days. It's up in the air, no one can see it. I can't believe this can be even brought as an issue. Gentlemen, I just know that I try my hardest to make a product so that I can keep a business open in a little bitty town. And you all well know, I'm about it. Everybody else is gone. And it's a small town. It's a small town. Now I have a fine gentleman who's renting from me, and full use of both arms is not always possible for Mark. And so that's why this came up, that we would have maybe better operating windows and it'd be more airtight. Some of the wood was not as great. I would have to replace a pane or two. So it just seemed like a much better idea. And then talk to people who have put such a nice effort in improving the old, say, 250 Merchant property, Jerry Bowman and his wife. They had went through this, and so that worked out for them. And I just thought, okay, this is a piece of cake. And it's drawn now, and I'm now taking up the second meeting and bothering you gentlemen for this small deal. But I don't think my building will ever hurt the look of St. Genevieve. And I think it'll improve the value if you get rid of the damn aluminum storm windows. So I'll bite my tongue here. I might also add that Frank Myers was on the board when he gave approval. I don't know if he voted to approve it, but I put in, everybody knows the old Clapsaddle, Dr. Clapsaddle home. It from the sidewalk, from the street, no one can really tell if those are clad or wood. And I may just restate that. Possibly you will, because if I look at historic preservation properties owned by the Dames and different ones, my windows always look better than theirs. So, I mean, the state operates one on the corner and they're constantly putting paint on. I'm on the second floor. It's up there. Yes, it would be nice to rearrange the windows and maybe even clean things. But you guys do what you got to do. All I know is I'll quit repairing stuff is all I guess. But I didn't ask for the front windows in the first place. Only because I didn't want to have to do this. I would really like to change the front windows, and I think then you would have all the aluminum windows gone. So it's up to you guys. I think it would fit the building. They look exactly the same shape. So, at any rate, go from there, I guess, because the distance of the framework would be identical, and you just have the same windows. Thank you.
So just so I understand that, so I can actually make a vote about the conscious, are you even thinking about replacing the front windows at this time?
I would if you guys want me to. But if you, then I'll take off the storm windows. And wouldn't it look more authentic to remember now, mine's a 1930 building, the newest building. How far you want to go around that building. When we had, in fact, here's another thing I think makes my downtown area look better for me after being there. There's 2 telephone poles in that back parking lot. Dick knows we eliminated pole after pole around the outside edge. Went in front of the anvil. All of them were eliminated with those 2 structures in back. And we just all worked as good neighbors to make it happen because you had to attach stuff to other people's buildings to make that. But everybody gets their electric fed that way. Guys, I wish we would be hard on the county. That ought to be an asphalt parking lot back there with marked parking spaces in case of a fire, in case of an EMS vehicle. And it's happened where people have needed it. And we have put that on the back burner. I paid only because we couldn't get around Armour Street. Okay.
Let's get back to the window.
Okay, but just remember, that should be on your plate for just safety factor.
I'm still unclear what's going to replace and what's not.
One of the things that I know that we have talked about in the one meeting that we've had in reviewing this or looking at this, I would tell you what some of the historic neighborhoods in St. Louis, which are not as historic as St. Genevieve are, but when people ask to replace the windows up there, the cultural resources for the city of St. Louis enforce every neighborhood almost has a different set of guidelines, although they're somewhat similar. They say that you have to replace, if it's on a street-facing facade or elevation, that you have to replace it with something that is similar in like if they were wood windows, you have to go back with wood windows, and they have to meet the same criteria of the windows that were on there. If the bottom window has a piece of wood that's 3 1/4 inches tall, it has to be 3 1/4 inches tall, and your sides like it has to look like what's there. If it has the true divided lights, it has to look like what's there. That is on something that is street facing, So if you're on a corner, you got to do two sides, or if you have a vacant lot next to you, you have to do it also. Or if you're within 50, if there's, the next building is 15 feet away where you can see that from the street, you also have to be able to put back what's there. So it really says the back and the sides of buildings, for the most part, you can end up putting a different, now, they don't, for some reason up there, they don't like vinyl, and vinyl's a complete no-no, but they'll let you put aluminum in, but they won't let you put vinyl in. But it seems to work up there. Again, I know people, because that's what I do, people don't like it, and they bitch about it all the time of having to do it that way. But it seems like it works. It seems like it might be a middle of the road ground for a lot of what's up there anyway. It doesn't completely put you back to what it's supposed to, but it is a compromise, and at least it, from like I say, a street-facing view, it gives you that same idea.
How would we go about modifying then our guidelines to accommodate that so we don't have this in the future?
We've started on it.
We just started on that.
Because that would have taken a lot of this out of it.
Well, and that's what we're shooting for, but we haven't gotten there yet. You know, we had a meeting on it.
Because I'm amenable to things with the alleys and things. My big fear is the street fronts and the things that everything else is seen. So what I was going with, Mr. Steiger, was if you said the street fronts are going to be maintained in kind, and you're only doing the 6 down the alley, then...
I would like it if it all matched.
What are we talking about?
But I'll leave the aluminum windows up there, and in my opinion, you're hurting the looks of the historic community. But, guys, it's fine with me.
Well, what's under ours is
Can I clarify something real quick? Initially, this application that I received had no number of windows that they were wanting to replace. After speaking with Sue, she said that they would love to replace all 9, but that they would be willing to replace just the 6 in the alley if the board would not approve it, the commission would not approve it. So when it was taken to the commission, it was taken as 9 or an option of 6. Well, when the first motion was made for approval of all 9 windows to be replaced, that motion died for lack of a second. Then immediately after, another motion was made to deny the request altogether. That motion passed by a roll call vote, 3, 0, and 2. So the appeal that I received was to only appeal the 6 windows in the alley. It was not to appeal all 9, it was only to appeal 6.
Let's just do it
6 then, okay. I make a motion to approve the 6 windows in the alley, but not the 3 in the front. So let's do that. I second that motion.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, all right. Great. Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad you said Beeman.
Okay, we do need a short closed session. Yeah, for talk about litigation.
Talk about litigation.
Motion.
Second.
Done. Alderman Smith.
You have to vote on this.
Alderman Couch.
Yes.
Alderman Donovan.
Yes.
Alderman Jokers. Alderman Stupi.
Yes.
Alderman Hook.
Yes.
Alderman Prince. Alderman Rozika.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay.
No rules on that.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to meet